Seems to be. It's a little bit laggy, a little bit less laggy as well, so I'm gonna assume it is working. Thank you, friends, for joining me, indeed. And greetings upon you, beloved and holy friends. Thank you for joining me today. Again, we're gonna talk about conflict. Conflict. I feel today has been a day laden with so much conflict, at least with the amount of information I got, from the external world, if you want to say it that way, where a part of me lost hope, yo. Straight up lost hope. Hope for humanity, hope for, like, it was from this perspective of if this is what things are like at the best case scenario, right? How much worse is it? Exactly, Christian. I lost so much hope today, dude. You see. And it's kind of painful, and yet that's what conflict kind of does sometimes, right? Like if you spend enough time alive, eventually conflict will arise. It's almost impossible for it not to. In pure spirit, you are unbounded and without form, but you are not without consciousness. And it is from this pure thought that creation springs into being. Hmm. Hmm. Like even though I feel that might be the case, and creation keeps springing into being in ways that might not be ideal, it's always our perception of it, right? Maybe even like of the conflict of it, the battle, the feeling of any potential resistance to how things could be. Maybe it's just not a lesson in expectation at the end of the day. Maybe that's where conflict really arises from. Expectations, expecting more, yeah, maybe even deserving more. Hmm. Hmm. Peace. If we're going to talk about conflict, the intention should be peace. And unfortunately, peace is a little bit silent. You know, peace doesn't make that much of a ruckus. And sometimes the ruckus can be necessary, appreciated even. So again, it's going to be about what you expect. What do you want from the world? What will you teach the world? And so make true for you. I'm trying to teach myself peace as much as I can these days. And it's difficult. Being in a state of peace is actually difficult. And it is something we can get better and better at. And I feel like there's a bunch of practices, like mindful. Today, for example, like at one moment I was not feeling good. Maybe I was in a moment of anticipation or something. Maybe there's just some sort of energy happening, but I was not feeling good. And I was like, why? Why am I feeling this way? And I went outside to the balcony and I looked. And I was thinking for a second, like, what can I do to make myself feel better? And then, as an answer almost to that question came this intuition that I just have to practice gratitude. That I had to look at the things that was around me and say thank you for them. And I started with my family and my body, then my ability. Just being in that state of gratitude. And I could literally feel, it was almost like I was tweaking my brain. Like I was trying to tune it out of the frequency of conflict. I was trying to tune it out of the frequency of lack, of the interpretation that I'm not enough, and into the frequency of just being grateful for what I have right now. And it was so beneficial. And yet, it didn't help, and if you can use the word help in that way, it didn't make things easier. Let me say it that way. It just gave me a better starting point. Does that make sense? I feel it maybe does. So like maybe that's the thing, right? Like it's from this perspective of every single person is right. Like the way that you're doing it, it's the way that it should be done. And that if people try to share things with you, they usually try to share it because they might see where you are right now. And they might, see the amount of work you'll have to do if you're starting from that starting point. And how conflict can arise from that. So much conflict has arisen from that. Hey, Brother Ryan, thank you for joining me, friend. It's so nice to have you here on the Reddits. Very, 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 very pleasurable indeed. How are you feeling, Brother Ryan? What is your thought on conflict? Have you been experiencing any conflict in your life? Have you developed any particular skill or any particular conflict resolution tactic? Anything you'd be willing to share with me, I would love to hear it. Conflict is something that we probably will face for a while still. Before things ultimately change for better, there might be a lot of conflict in between. And to try and mitigate that as much as possible. Not only to try and mitigate it, but to try and, it sounds a little bit, but to transcend it, to literally become above it. And to not want to get in a state of conflict at all. Almost from a moral perspective or a self-worth perspective. You know what you like to feel like, and you know what you're worthy of, what experiences you would like to have or choose to have. And certain experiences aren't that. And it becomes this weird experience as well of how much are you willing to tolerate, for peace. How much are you willing to tolerate for peace? Because peace is very often a compromise. Very often it's a compromise. And it usually is a compromise of a sense of power. Again, the very thing that the conflict kind of arises from is expectation. And if you're a powerful individual, an expectation becomes a dangerous thing, because now not only do you want this thing, but you have the ability to take it, right? And we can think about it from a military perspective or from a malicious perspective. I'm actively trying to learn with the Bay. I don't know if I'm good at conflict resolution. Am I, Christian? I'm willing to talk about it. I feel that's a step. I'm not scared of conflict.
Are you a good conflict resolver? Did you just ask?
I'm asking, yeah.
You don't let it, you don't hold on to things. That's a good thing. When there is a fight.
Yeah. Is that a way to solve the conflict though? Like the way that I'm thinking about it is from like there's one perspective when it comes to conflict in the genuine aspect of being willing to say things even when they may spur conflict. And then if they spur conflict, how to mitigate that conflict in a way that it can actually be still an exchange of love instead of hatred or fear.
Well, my way was making eggs.
Thank you. I'm literally feeling very earthy because of that meal as well. So now we have two perspectives, that was just shared kind of haphazardly. One perspective of not holding on to things and leaving them be, kind of not perpetuating the pain, and the other perspective of trying to make up in other parallels, of life. That's the thing that's pretty interesting about conflict as well, is that conflict can spread into multiple parts of your life. And we had this exchange with a friend recently where she technically, not technically, 100%ly lives with her, partner, her significant other, and they like signed co-signed on a lease on a house together. And now there is this, conflict between them, and there's this maybe you want to separate, and yet there is all of this other parallels, right? All of the meals they've eaten together, maybe like exercising together, sleeping in the same bed, comfort of having another person in your space, having a cat together, no, working close together, all of these other parallels that make a conflict so much more nuanced and complicated than just the actual context of what happened in that moment. Happy Sunday to you, Waffle. Such a pleasure. Genuine pleasure having you here. Thank you for joining us. Hey, Shannon, thank you for joining us. There we go. I'm happy that it's live on here as well. We have peace on the inside of the little cardboard. So peace and love, is that too cliche?
Nope, never wrong to say love and peace.
Okay. Peace and love it is. Peace and love.
As my dear hero Vash the Stampede would say, love and peace.
Be excellent to each other.
It's also a good one.
And rock on, dudes. There's actually a dude on Reddit that does these sick riffs on guitar, and almost, like most of his streams, his title is Be Excellent to Each Other. So I usually tune in and just be like, and rock on, my dudes. I tend to try to avoid conflict, but I realize I'm doing that. In doing that, I only bring stress onto myself. So I've been trying harder to confront it, even though it is difficult. That's the thing that I'm going through a little bit as well, Shannon, where the reason I say things is usually because of how I feel in the moment. Something comes up in me, and then I vocalize that. And that can spawn conflict. But as you mentioned, right, like the alternative is us not doing that and then hurting ourselves in the process, where it just feels like you're not worthy of someone's time, you're not worthy of the energy of an exchange. And like I cannot allow myself that. Not at all. Like I know what I'm worth, and I'll fight for it. Oh yes, I will. Oh yes. I don't expect much. All I expect is love. So, yes, it's awesome stuff. You are awesome stuff. Thank you for joining us, Mrs. Bleach. Conflict is tricky. Not saying things can be bad. Not saying things can be bad too. It's a balance. It's a balance that we have to try and reach in every single one of our relationships. And again, sometimes peace takes compromise, right? So, kind of like finding that balance with the amount of things you have to compromise with versus the amount of things that the other person needs to compromise with. And then really, evaluating what's fair. How can you be more loving in that exchange? What can you do better in that exchange to make it more balanced? Right? And if we can all be asking ourselves those questions. Could be a big step for humanity. Ahoy, it's insane. All you need is love. All you need is love. Isn't that a Beatles song as well? Bruh, did I really? No, I did. I did actually do that. You know what I did, Christian?
What?
I reverse rolled this paper. So the sticky part is on the outside. That is very much not how you're supposed to roll a joint. But fortunately, in the face of conflict of myself, I choose peace. I'm going to gently put all of these weeds back into the grinder, and I'm going to start over. Good day. I'm home for a 4-day wood carving event. Have you been well? Melt, I feel like you just got a big slap in the face. Everyone's hopes hits lows. It will be okay, brother. I appreciate you being vocal. Yeah, it happens, Miss Mouse. Fortunately, I'm a big boy. I'm strong. I can be. I feel like we all go through these things, and instead of considering myself a victim when these type of things arise, I think of the perspective of rather me than someone else. I would rather go through this hardship than have someone else go through it. Like I might be able to deal with it a little bit better or be strong enough to actually survive it. So, like from this genuine perspective of like the reason I'm going through things or the difficulties I have as an opportunity to grow in a way where I can then eventually actually help others because of that growth. And then continuing that, choosing growth, choosing love, choosing yet more experience, choosing to try and find the truth of love, right? Exchange, experience, situation, relationship, job, food, whatever. And just asking yourself, where can I find love in this? In this exchange, in this experience, where is the love? And more often than not, if you ask yourself that question, you'll find it. You will find it. And I've been like that, I feel like that's been my journey for so long at this point. And now I'm just, doing that even more intentionally. Very well, very much feeling that melt. It's an opportunity to grow. And I appreciate you so much for growing with me, Shannon. Like, this is what it's about. All you need is love, wait for then. It's nice to have you here, Shannon. Not Shannon, it's insane. It's just like waiting to flow. Being vocal, love's all you need. I don't compromise anymore. I don't think I compromise anymore either. Maybe like in some ways, right? Like if it's an egoic thing that I'm not compromising for, then I'll be like, maybe I should compromise here. But if it's a soul thing, then I don't compromise. Then I kind of like let the gloves come off even. I would rather be extremely uncomfortable than silent. And that's unfortunately a dual-edged sword. Love is true what it is. You messed up. I did, friend. I mess up occasionally. I make mistakes. I'm not infallible. And sometimes it's important for us to acknowledge that as well. You messed up. Meowdy, Sophina, nice to have you. Oops, you rolled it inside out. I did. The little sticky bit didn't show up as, shiny to me, or did show up as shiny to me. For some reason, I flipped it around. It happens sometimes. Not occasionally, not regularly, but sometimes. How are you friends feeling? Have you experienced any conflict in your life? Are you just witnessing the conflict of the world right now? How does it make you feel? What do you think can be done? Those are some of the questions that I've been asking myself. Like, unfortunately, the conflicts that we're facing these days are so, again, they have so many parallels. They're so all-encompassing, so complicated. It's almost like not only is it difficult for us to really make meaningful change, but it's sometimes even difficult for us to understand. Here we go. Just like that. We still got it done. What's the conflict? Not any conflict in particular, other than maybe I can share a little bit of context. Conflict about sharing what feels true to you, and it not being someone else's truth, and then them, I don't know, feeling a certain way about you sharing your truth in that way, right? And how that can create an opportunity for conflict. Imagine putting a maxi pad inside out. I mean, I don't think that would work, right? Guess not. Or maybe nobody needs to go through it. Nobody should have to be a Jesus. I mean, that's a little bit extreme, right? Like I feel Jesus archetype was a collection of human understanding in a lot of ways, right? Like it's this legitimate story. If you were to be a story writer and you had to figure out like the best way to write a attractive story, a beautiful archetype, a fantastical character. Like Jesus has all of those like notes, right? Oh, betrayal and still love regardless of betrayal, and a want to help others, and non-judgment mentality, and forgiveness as a core message. And another one of the messages he taught is the understanding that the kingdom of heaven is in you, right? That you are the one that holds the keys to heaven, and that it's right here in this moment. But as with all these figures, when they die, their message becomes skewed by people who can manipulate it for power. As always happens. Very much feeling that. Hello, Melkmore. Hello, Nova. It's been a while. It has. It has been a while. Almost been like 3 weeks or something, Nova. It's nice to see you again with the bed. I have been experiencing conflict, less in some ways, a little more in others. Nova, I hope you've been well. Like what I'm thinking about now, Shannon, is almost like this weird weighted balancing system where if you don't have conflicts in your life in some ways, you'll have conflicts in your life in other ways. But you can never not have any conflict. It's 12:15 a.m. here. How was your day, Noah? Did you have a good one? Was it productive? Did you get to rest a little bit? Did you get to spend some time with family members? Did you get to spend some time with yourself? I hope you feel nice and rested. Hope you're looking forward to the week that's ahead. Trying to, at least in the smallest way that we can, to create some sense of anticipation instead of just living in that state of anxiety of, the week is coming, the week is coming again. We all do. As long as there is ego, conflict is not far behind. Yep. Yep, yep, yep. Ego and the attachments that it makes and the expectations that it holds. And I notice it in myself as well. I'm definitely not free from it. I'm definitely not free from it. So if I'm not free from it, how can humanity be? And if that is the things that is facing us right now, how do we melt our egos? Right? How? Genuinely how? How in a way that it is tangible, that it makes tangible change of the way that people see themselves. The understanding people have of themselves in context of the rest of the whole. Failure is the greatest teacher. Technically, yes. It's only by failing that we really learn lessons in a tangible way sometimes. I've been failing hard for a while now. And I feel in a way I've transcended that conflict in my life. And it was almost like as soon as I did, new conflicts arose. Like with like actual eerie synchronicity, where it was like I released this conflict and then that conflict fell into another conflict right at the bottom of it. And I was like, oh, cool. Sick. All right. Noah saying it was okay. I made a nice breakfast with my family, chorizo and eggs within a bread roll. Sounds good. How do we dissolve the fears and worries that we face daily? We breathe gratefully. I feel like that could be, you know, uh, antidote, a medicine, just prescribed to every single person for at least 4 minutes and 44 seconds a day. Breathe gratefully. Grateful for every breath you take, for the world that allows you to take those breaths, supports you with gravity, supports you with atmosphere, supports you with the water that allows your blood to flow right now. Like, and if we can really all practice that gratitude for just a little bit, that might be an antidote. I don't know if it will work, but I would like to see. Love you, Nova. Thank you for the bear. It's important to know we can learn. Oh, yes, we can. I feel the human being is so resilient and adaptive. That's the word. Hyper adaptive. Like, we can be faced with a whole new reality and adjust to it in days, hours, minutes, sometimes even. Where we're like, oh, this whole reality. Oh, well. You know, like, just think about the VR, for example. You put a pair of goggles on your face, and then after minutes inside that space, your brain is like, cool, this is where I am right now. And you become convinced. Literally, you're like, yeah, sick. I'm looking around, seeing this environment. Adjusting, adapting. Humans are so resilient, fragile. So resilient, yet fragile. That is true as well. You know, and I think it's because of our fragile resiliency that we've created this world we live in right now, right? That we've created the world we see. I kind of like just thought about it a little around, like, it is because of our fragility, it is because of our fragile resiliency that we've created the world you see. Are you following me? So it has been. So it will continue to be. Do we have to become stronger? Is that what's expected of us? Do we have to create a world that is more inclusive? I feel it has to be maybe both. We'll have to be stronger in the way we stand for the world we want to see. Again, it'll take all of us. Peace and love. Peace and love. Separation is so dangerous. Separation is what leads to wars, what leads to food hoarding, leads to financial imbalances. Separation. And yet, separation is the thing that causes that conflict in the first place, right? And again, coming back to that topic that we shared a little bit ago, the genuine understanding that for there to be true beauty, light and dark has to mix. Light and dark has to mix. So, as bad as things get, try and make your experience. And I know this sounds a little bit hippie-ish, but if you can live a loving experience in this moment instead of, you know, living a fearful one, you are literally contributing to the global consciousness. At least that's the way that I think about it. It is the one that gives the test before the lesson. Thank you, Remy. For this space we share today, I am burning a Palo Santo stick and these 3 incenses, hibiscus and 2 sandalwoods. Ego is one thing that separates us. Another is our meat sacks. Yeah. You know, and then like the thing is as well, it's almost like a paradox to me in a way, right? Because like the ego attaches itself to the meat sack. So it is this dual layer story of separation, right? Like not only do we come into this world as an entity and we experience the world from the perspective of said entity, but then we start telling ourselves a story about the entity and about the things we experience, and then that becomes our ego. And then that ego becomes attached to the experiencer, or at least the experiencer in the context of the receptive organ that is your body. And then we forget that every single other being is the exact same way. I don't know how. I don't know how we forgot, but we did. Maybe it took some knowing. I feel somehow that animals might know it. You know, I feel like animals might actually understand that. Part of them doesn't care though. At least that's what I noticed. Like thinking about our dogs, for example. You know, even though they are very loving, especially towards us humans, when it comes to like a piece of meat that falls on the ground, there's no chill. You know, there'll be conflict even. And yet there can also be those beautiful moments of them playing together and, you know, gleefully chasing one another. So, is conflict inevitable? Maybe that's the question that I should be asking today. Is conflict inevitable, and is it always as a result of ego or attachment to self? And then that attachment to self being considered just ego, technically. Thank you. I will burn sage. Thank you, Miss Molly. So much love. Peace and love to you as well, Sensane. Say peace and love 5 times fast. Sounds like pizza love. Peace and love, 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 peace and love. Does kind of sound like pizza love, you're right. Pizza can be good, but I don't know if it should be loved. Maybe if you love it enough, you can somehow reduce its negative effects. I hope that joint makes you feel better. I'm not feeling bad, Nova. I'm not actually feeling bad. I'm just feeling. I'm feeling and I'm paying attention. Like the big thing in me right now is I'm thinking about Taiwan actually, weirdly enough. I'm thinking about Taiwan and I'm thinking about China, almost like looking like a watching rather, watching as a perv right through a window slit at this Taiwan, you know, plotting its murder, plotting its destruction of, plotting its conflict. And I mean, it's literally our semiconductor central hub of the earth, dude. So China won't destroy that technology. It's worth that much. And it's an island. It's a little island. Well, I mean, it's not that little. So I'm thinking of that stuff, right? Like this conflict is happening in Ukraine right now. The parallels of the conflict that it's inducing is this, you know, rising inflationary rate, the rise in food prices, the scarcity in wheat, for example, and then also our natural resources when it comes to our energy production, right? Like conflict is something that has never really served us, not as individuals, and yet we still have these bad actors, if you want to call them that are making these decisions for us as a whole. And I do not understand how that really happens, right? Like I feel there's so many parallels that plays into that as well, like the amount of indoctrination that has happened to us as humanity. But it doesn't make sense to me sometimes. Maybe it's a belief, maybe it's a want to not have conflict. You know, that we allow these things to happen sometimes. Love it. Can I use this with students? Please, Miss Marley, always feel free to. It really can help apprehensive youth. Please, genuinely, friend, like you never have to ask us if you can share love. That will always be encouraged. I think conflict has many aspects. Being aware of your reaction to conflict will help trying to understand it. Does that sense? It senses. Life and all its complexities. You know, I feel it's something that is so ceaseless, and every single version of us that finds itself in this moment tries to maybe experience more of it, the whole of it. You know, like even thinking about eating as this attempt to experience more of reality, right? And sometimes your reality will change because of that reality. Like if you overdo the amount of food you consume, your body will literally reflect that reality. And like the conflict we have with that sometimes, the conflict we have with our ability to actually influence our realities, right, in so many ways, and food choice is just one of them. I feel even more important the way we speak to one another. We can get fed up sometimes because we're dealing with a lot of stuff in here. So there's been so much that an external, note of that can be too much to bear. I think I missed a few. Where are you, Melkmore? Are you inside your home? I'm inside Christian's home right now. I wonder why meth was created. Because human beings like the feeling of dopamine. You know, dopamine is the feeling of, I should do this thing because it's going to be good. That's dopamine. So, make your bed. I did this thing. It is good. Dopamine. Finishing a job. I did the thing. I feel good. Having sexual intercourse. Did the thing. I feel good. Eat a candy. Your brain is like, that's good, right? Resources, energy consumption. So that's dopamine. And then if you can smoke something that just gives you 1,500% of that dopamine, of course human beings are going to figure out how to do that. Unfortunately, it comes with the caveat of being extremely bad for you. And, and it but more than likely will ruin your life. If it's something you habitually use. Unfortunately, having that much dopamine in your brain, again, it creates this narrative of this is something I want to do, and if I do it, it's going to be good. That good becomes attached to you as your ego, where your ego, because this experience is perceived as good, your ego gets to tell itself it is doing the right thing. It is doing something good. Right? So even though it might be detrimental to your health, even though it might be bad to the people around you, you can still do things that could be bad for all of those things because it feels good. Like just eating, for example. That's my biggest vice. Eating. Like I was what? At that point, probably 60 pounds. I was 60 pounds overweight in grade 10. That's a lot of excess energy that I didn't need, right? That could have gone somewhere else. And yet, in the moment, in that pattern of habitual consumption, eating your feelings away, if you will, it feels like you're doing something that is good in that moment, right? It tastes good, so that good must mean that I'm good. It must mean things are okay in this moment, right? And then trying to find that good state in something outside of yourself, that is where I feel, conflict arises as well sometimes because we're looking for someone else outside of us to say something that might make us feel good or do something that'll make us feel good, roll over and that'll make us feel good. It's so complicated. Peace and love our times. I think conflicts, many aspects. That does make sense. Awareness is critical, and it isn't easy. No, it's not. My food consumption will reflect a comfy, prosperous, cuddly, fun hedonism, and there's no problem with that, right? Like that is the thing as well. Maybe a little bit of hedonism. Like the biggest thing that we're trying to address today is the conflicts that we create in ourselves. And then as a result, how those conflicts almost eventually bleed out into our realities. Conflict we have with food, conflict we have with getting up and moving, exercising, the conflict we have with actually sitting down and doing work. Always a struggle of fighting to push forward. And if we didn't have that resistance, what would we become? Would we even enjoy it? Maybe that's why conflict is inevitable in humanity, is because that conflict has driven us so far. We're just not seeing the full picture at this moment. That's the way I think about it. Where we have this drive, we have this capacity, but we're still channeling it towards one another as individuals, instead of channeling it towards problems that we all face as individuals, right? Like our planet is like in the hospital bed right now, coughing, and instead of
I keep remembering back to the days when I was like, God, I wish the apocalypse would just happen, you know?
Me too.
So like we could just
2012, unironically, I was like, fuck yeah, the world's gonna end. That was where I was. I was happy about it because I was so depressed. I wanted to die, but I didn't want to commit suicide because I was told I would go to hell instantly.
Bro, I straight up, I'm like, I can't believe I wished for that stuff. Because now it's like probable that it might happen anytime, you know? And then I'm like, fuck, Chris, goddammit, be careful what you wish for, motherfucker, you're gonna get. I started to appreciate the simplicity of my life a lot more. Like,
You
it's
stop.
calming, it's peaceful. There's nothing that happens that should make you feel shit.
You stop fighting it, dude.
Like, follow your dreams, but don't follow them to the degree that it inebriates you, that fills you with anxiety and anger and loathing and jealousy.
Balance. Spend an appropriate amount of time. Whatever that means to you. Whatever conflict
Yeah.
you resolve, whatever amount
Whatever
of
you
time
need
is
to
necessary.
do, bro. I mean, I've been learning that with writing my stuff.
Mm,
It's like, if I don't feel like writing, I don't write. Because, fuck that shit. Why would you force yourself to write when you don't feel like it?
exactly. Conflict. Conflict. I feel conflict has been a part of my life in ways all, and yet I've tried in a lot of ways over the last few years to completely rid myself of it. Who needs tears? So nice to have you here. Love to you, friend. Thank you for joining us. Have you been facing any conflicts? Do let us know. Well, apparently this chimpanzee was taught sign language and was held captive for years. When it died, his last message was to stop hurting Mother Earth. I'm pretty sure it's messed up what's happening in Ukraine. It is, as a human, I feel lost. I feel a lot of us feel that way right now, Nova. Like that's definitely not a isolated case. I wanted to say a unique case, but you are a unique case. We're all experiencing that same fractal in the same way. And I feel, even though it can be dreary or concerning at some points, to see it as a potential to become something more, right? Like, I genuinely believe that humanity is in its cocoon stage, right? We were worms, and then we were worming around, just eating ceaselessly. And now we've cocooned ourselves, literally stuck in our homes, literally cocooning ourselves, keeping away from other people, masking up, not even showing our faces to one another. And we will emerge as the butterflies of society. But I don't know exactly what that looks like. I don't know how much conflict that will cause.
Is it gonna be friendlier and kinder and gentler, or is it gonna be horrifyingly beastly and bad?
That's the trip. That is the trip. Hello, Melty, Christian, and friends. It's so nice to have you here again. Thank you. These tears. Conflict, not so much lately, but in the recent past, it certainly felt like my day to day was conflict ridden. I'm so happy to hear that that's not the case anymore. Like, that gives me so much hope. I don't feel my day to day are, conflict ridden. Not at all, actually. I feel I'm living pretty conflict free most of the time. We don't really disagree about that many things, right? Like, we don't fight about stuff. Like, legitimately nothing. Like, we give just a shit a little bit, but it's not fighting.
I had an interesting time at work.
You fight people?
Not fight, no. Definitely not fight. Just strange political maneuvers.
Mhm.
Again, dancing and prancing to the silly trancing. It's fucking horrifying sometimes, but for the most part, it's fine.
Political. To be politically correct. Like that, it straight up causes me anxiety saying those words, dude. I don't even know what it means. I mean, I know what it's supposed to mean, but like that, as I say it, that word probably gained more context in someone's mind right now, somewhere in the world. Stop. More and more and more and more and more and more things to be politically correct about, Christian.
There is a way to talk where you can be very careful with your words.
That's what I try to do, dude, as much as I can. Literally as much as I can. I feel like giving up and not trying in life. Nothing goes my way. I feel like giving up and not trying in life. Nothing goes my way. Like, friend, that whole sentence, I feel should be, you should like write it out almost, maybe print it out in like big letters. And it may be like, as I see black and red, almost like goo, like these ripped up pieces of paper. And then the other side, I feel like trying. I feel like showing up,
And not
and
giving up.
and everything will go my way. I'll show up and everything will go my way. And just to look at those two things written out, friend, like genuinely, I feel like giving up and not trying life because nothing goes my way. Like just saying those words doesn't make me feel good.
God.
And then on the other side, I'll show up and everything will go my way. And your way is literally independent of what you think it should be because whatever you go through is your way. That's your way. That's all about it. That's the trip of reality of living an individual life. Nova, dude, mindset though. Mindset, brother bear. You freaking got this, man. You so got this. You have been showing up. You've been showing up. You're already doing it. And here you still are breathing. So you got this. I do frequently feel like I wish, Nova, I do frequently feel like I wish I could go be more in the world for Ukraine, for mm, Nicaragua,
Nicaragua.
Nicaragua, for Iranians, but we do what we can in our small ways, I think, our lives in a
You
way
can,
where
like,
we do
what
not
pick-
create conflict or ripple out.
You can pick something you're passionate about that you really want to help in. It doesn't have to be a lot of things. It can be one really important thing.
Show up for one thing in your life,
Like
and do it
getting
every day.
shoes to children. That's a great cause. Find the people that do that. Help them out passionately.
I think it's about creating some sense of momentum. Start doing something. And as you mentioned as well, Who Needs Tears, where it starts is here. Doing what we can with what we have, where we are. What we can with what we have, where we are. And acknowledging that that can be enough, right? It might not be enough in whatever context of ego you could, frame it in, but it is enough, friend. You are enough. I had 2 cheap and delicious hot dogs this morning. Bliss. Nah, I won't put my hot dogs down on somebody else. I try to have manners. Oh, you're beautiful. Thank you, Bleach. I'm happy you enjoyed your meal, friend. If you keep thinking about the same conflict over and over within ourselves, it will manifest in some way. The thing that I've been paying attention to, and it makes very good logical sense to my mind, is that our bodies are these feeling organs, right? And then our minds create a narrative around what these feeling organs experience. But your body listens to your mind, right? Like I can do this, right? Listening to my mind right now. It's not doing that by itself as a body. My mind is influencing that capability. So, what I think, even though it might not be actuated in movement, it's still a message going into my body. So, when I experience something, whatever it may be, and I tell myself a negative story perpetually about it, that's what my body hears. It doesn't know what's going on. It's just hearing, oh shit is whack. Damn it.
Shit's pretty whack.
Shit's so whack,
Shit
dude,
is
man.
so
I,
fucking
I don't
whack.
feel great about this. Why shit's so whack, you know? And that's what your body is like sitting, is like a blind person, right? Like just hearing these screams from mine.
I saw this great video recently about anxiety.
Uh-huh.
That's like this dude chilling, having a nice day, then anxiety coming. It's like, hey, shouldn't you be worrying about something? It's like, what?
Something, dude.
Oh my god, you're fucking right.
Dude, like I imagine it from this perspective of there is body, almost like just this awareness within space, and then there is mind, which is like the little voice, and then there is awareness, which is what we actually are, and then there's just mind screaming at body, like creating this narrative that there's like someone being murdered out there, and body is just like, bro, danger, so much danger, and awareness is like watching this play out, being like, oh, what's gonna happen? What's gonna happen to me?
Like a football game.
Yeah. Choose. You get to choose. You are aware in this moment. You actually get to choose what story you want to tell yourself, friend. Think about it. IT or it's easy to not think about the destruction of the planet while you're having a good time. It's true. Very much is true. It's insane. And yet, thinking about the destruction of the planet is what I think about the most when I'm having a good time. Right? Like it's like I'm the thing like having a good time can be seen in
Yeah,
multiple
I actually
times.
feel kind of guilty sometimes.
Yeah, exactly, dude. Like
I'll straight up catch myself having a good time and be like, oh,
yeah,
you enjoying
I'm having
this,
too
huh?
much of a
There are
good time right
children
now or
in
something.
India that are starving right now, and
Exactly.
I'm like, bro, come on.
Exactly that, dude. And for me, like even in psychedelic experiences, like I'll be in a state of like loving, blissful, oneness awareness, and I'll be like, everything is perfect, and then my ego is like, people are dying, people are dying right
People
now.
are actively
People
dying
are
right
dying
now, like
right
every
now.
single
And I'm
second.
like, I know, and yet I get to choose what I want to feel right now. I get to choose what story I want to tell myself, and my body doesn't know the difference. Like that's the trip that I'm going through, like actively going through.
I have to find a way to help a sufficient amount so that my own moral compass doesn't hang me by the ceiling.
Oh, that's a beautiful imagery almost. I could see it, dude.
You know, it's kind of scary. It's watching this, and it's like lawful good. You know, like the DMD um,
Archetypes.
alignment.
Yeah, the
types.
9 blocks.
And it's like lawful good. It's like you should probably be helping with the oceans right now. I mean, shit's so fucked up, man. And you're a human being. You're capable of a lot. So
You have hands?
go sacrifice your life and save the ocean. You pig.
Lawful good. That sounds like a little chaotic good, dude, for a moment there.
No, dude. It's lawful good. It's the right thing to do. It's lawful. Could be a little bit chaotic good, but yeah, basically like
The chaos of throwing your life away. For
either
something.
you go and sacrifice your life for the oceans, or I sacrifice you over here at the balcony.
Still the story you tell yourself. You can choose not to. It sounds kind of like patronizing, but that really is how it is, dude. And I caught myself doing it today. You know, I was tripping out about fucking numbers again. Numbers, Christian. 1, 5, 5, 6, 7, and then it goes 3, 5, 5, and now I'm like, oh fucking no. And my body is like, oh shit, what's going on? And then I'm like, no, actually, I'm grateful to have hands. I'm grateful for this beautiful, pashmina, well, Sharon, technically, that Christian gave me. I'm so grateful. I'm grateful to be sitting on a soft cushion right now. I'm grateful to have Daniel here with me. I don't understand which movie this is. And yet, I'm so grateful to have you here. Daniel, you're part of the movie right now. The movie of Daniel. You know, like Daniel lived his entire life. And then he eventually showed up in this moment. And this moment is significant to the movie of Daniel because here he is, being accentuated. Out of all beings with an infinity that I could be talking about right now, I'm choosing to talk about Daniel. Love to you, Fred. Thank you for joining us. It's nice to have you here. Numbers like 444. I think I missed a few of your comments. Sorry. I feel like I'm not good enough at what I really want to do, like playing guitar and making music, and I can't express myself properly, and it comes up with something new. Friend, can I just say this right off the bat? You cannot expect to be good at things just because.
We were singing about that in the kitchen. I want to be good at everything immediately with no effort.
Like we were literally singing in a comical kind of like joking way how we want to do something. Like I pick up an instrument and I don't want to pong pong pong. I just want to. That's what we want, but that's not how it works. That's not how it works. It sometimes takes decades, dude.
Decades.
Literal decades. Tens upon tens of years of us mastering a skill to become that thing which we think we already are. And you are that. Because you have given that work, you have given that mental energy to be that. But you have to do the work, give that mental energy to be that. And it's a trip, it's a conflict trip. Mel, good to see you. Love you, brother. It's Noah. Dude, Noah in the middle of one of our streams had another person hit their house with a car. He's like, hold up real quick, someone in my house. I'm like, nice to have you here, Noah. Thank you for joining us. Gabagoo, hello to you at the bear. It's insane over being aware of your conflicts and shortfalls doesn't mean it'll manifest. It allows you also to get the opportunity to actively decide better decisions in the moment. The hunt to silence your mind and not think your thoughts is counterproductive. I'm not suggesting that at all. I'm suggesting tailoring your thoughts. You know, where if you notice you're perpetuating a certain thought structure to almost like in the same way you can start manual breathing, right? Breathe manually. In breath, out breath, choosing to. You can do the same thing with your mind. And your mind can have this active, but you can still be like, I am happy. You can just say those words. I am here now. I enjoy eating food. I love my family members. Choosing to actively take control of that narrative system, not trying to escape or trying to silence your mind completely. I haven't managed to figure that out just yet. But yeah, that's the way I feel about it, at least insane. Yes, you are correct about the mind body. You have helped me reset my mind, and I thank you. Miss Molly, I am but a guide. Showing you, look at this. What do you see? What do you see? And you've seen something, Miss Molly, but that's you, friend. I'm holding up a mirror. Love to you, friend. You shift your thoughts. This is what's up. This is what's up to say. Thank you at the back, God, for sharing the love. I was responding to the commenter you read, not to your response mouth. Okay, thank you for the back. I mean, it still allowed me to share some stuff. It's insane. So it was exactly what it was supposed to be. Having this moment with you friends today, such a pleasure. Trippy mouth. I'm happy you're having a good time at the bay. Friend Kippy was once said, Shab Kippy. Shabuba. Shambuba Freskipi. Yes, Shambuba Freskipi. Try and say that.
Shabuba for Skippy.
Shambuba Freskipi.
Shabuba for Skippy.
Freskipi. I don't know what that means, but it's kind of nice to say, Nova. Thank you. That's trippy melt. Shwam, brain melting, dude. Showing up every day for mind melting conversations, right? Like I've been genuinely, I've changed multiple times over, and yet I'm still conscious, I guess, aware that I have been able to change, that I have been able to, go through all of this stuff, and to be able to do that stuff with other people that is like me, conscious and aware. Like I can't even imagine. Like I unironically cannot even imagine. I was thinking about Uncle Becky and Aunt B today, for example. Just like picturing the lives, the understanding that there are these whole beings doing things right now. It's insane, doing things right now, experiencing things, every single one of you, friends. The understanding that every single person you see lives just as intricate and unique of a life as you do. makes it easier to let go of some conflicts. I feel if we really understand that. My angels, Diana, love to you, friend. Thank you for joining us. Sending you love and light, my melty friends. Thank you so much, gorgeous Shannon. You're such a light to me. Thank you. Thank you so much for that. Sometimes I don't think I just do.
I
Yes.
love thinking that when I'm on the precipice of jumping off somewhere. It's usually with water underneath.
Okay. Yeah, for me, I like contemplating what it would be like to, I don't actually imagine myself doing it.
No,
I mean-
like at a water slide or some shit. Not like suicidal shit.
Heights, I don't know why heights does
Yeah,
that for
but
me.
the thing is, you know you're gonna be safe if you just jump. So don't think, just do.
Oh. I've never had any anxiety jumping in water, fortunately.
I have a shit ton,
Ah.
but I don't think about it when I jump.
The biggest thing I have anxiety about is getting water up my ass. Because I've jumped from those like 30-meter. I'm actually serious, dude. Like we're basically these bunch of kids that practice. Like I was a swimmer when I was in primary school. So we would go to these like local meets and it would be like these high multi-layered like long dive type of like forms. And the swimming pool would go like 20 meters deep so that people don't hit the bottom of it. It was crazy, dude. And then like you hear these stories of horror. And then you go up and jump from that thing. And it was so cool, dude. So cool. Like the amount of airtime you get. And then you just have to like keep your body straight, clench everything, go into the water. And then you see people like sinks to the bottom of it. Like that, it's a vibe. I mean, kids, dude. I can't believe that we had access to that stuff. I mean, there was like a 9, 10-year-old jumping from those heights, and the adults were like, "Yeah, here's the stairs."
Maybe they just really didn't care. Like to such a degree that they were like, ah, fucking talk about it. It happens here every Tuesday.
You bro. Get wrecked if you want to. I wrote that down. Thank you so much, Nova, for like sharing the love, friend. Shabuba, Fraskipi. No, you're such a light to be, Shannon. I reflect that onto my daughters and elderly father. No Ermias Blur. I'm actually thirsty right now. Ermias Blur is here somewhere. Might be being washed or something. But I'm actually thirsty. I'm missing Ermias Blur just as much as you are, Nova. I missed you all so much during my COVID experience. It's nice to have you here, Diana. I hope you're feeling better, my friend. It's true, Nova. Man, so scary. We're all going to die someday. That's a scary thought. Is it scary? I feel it's kind of relieving in a way. We're all gonna die someday. Man, suddenly I have a lot less to worry about. Memento mori, friend. Look yourself in the eye and tell yourself, eventually you will die. You have to live right now because eventually you will die.
Sudden panic attack.
First thing in the morning, for existential dread. First thing in the morning, and also tell yourself, I love you. While you're existential dreading yourself.
I love that. Yeah, that's great. Follow-up conversation. It's like, you're gonna die one day.
So I love you.
But I love you, and you're gonna live, so you're gonna live.
I was a kid. I tried to make the biggest cannonball. Yeah, not of those ones, dude.
You see, I understand like jumping down feet first pike style, you know?
That's the way you
But
do
if
it.
you're going for straight up cannonball, that's when your ass is exposed.
Yeah.
Full blown, like pulling your cheeks aside. I'm going, asshole first. That's when you get water.
And like the thing is as well, that amount of height, the biggest thing you have to worry about is your swimsuit adjustment though, because that thing straight up, like if you had like legged pipes, people had like their backs torqued, bro. Where they like get out of that pool, walking like they're Quasimodo. So, like I was like legitimately tripping out about the reality of this water, dude, and how it becomes concrete almost, at enough height. I wish you could see the smile on my face, Diana. Thank you so much for sharing that with me. So much love to you, friend. The power that you choose to share, Diana, like taking a moment to actually just send loving words. Thank you so much for that. I'm not scared of death, but would everything I did matter for the cannonball? I mean, Nova, it matters as much as you think this moment does. right? And again, talking about how it's your perception, it's your moment. Does this moment mean something to you? Do you feel this moment is valuable? And then asking yourself, in what measure do you measure that value, right? Is it a certain sense of achievable, if, with the amount of money you make, with the amount of things you get done, with the amount of time you spend talking to people, with the amount of people you could have touched, the amount of good scritches you could have given your dog? Just to ask yourself what's valuable to you in your moment, and then to realize that that is what matters. Whether or not that is going to have any context within the infinity, within the understanding that eventually you will die, this is what matters. You. You matter, friend. Keep living, please. The power of dopamine. The power of dopamine. Thank you for sharing some dopamine with me, Nova. I appreciate you, friend. I was from the corner. I love talking and jumping. I love talking about jumping off buildings, and I've jumped off many. It's insane. Parkour? Always interesting to me that people who express disdain for life are also the most afraid to leave it.
I think it's a form of like enjoying to complain, you know? It's a way of life. Honestly, it's an art. It's just. I,
It's a
Zoe,
perspective.
Zoe gets it.
Mm.
Zoe gets it. She can like laugh about the shitty situation that we're in.
Cosmic giggle style.
Yeah, it's like, haha, that's so fucked up.
Mm.
But you know, it is fucked up. But you can laugh through it. It's just acknowledging that it is true.
I feel complaining gives you something to do instead of doing the thing that needs to be done for you to not complain.
I did suggest we start like an OnlyFans.
He did.
And
He unironically, like the first thing this morning, he was on this shtick of he's gonna start an OnlyFans, you know? Like it's this horrific test. I see the toast molest and the gobbledygook testing or
follow
something
me at
right now.
Swag Daddy 69.
And just this perspective of like what we're trying to do right now, right? Like I'm showing up every single day for this, and there is a certain value attributed to that. But if I showed up every single day to make pornography, I would be bawling out of my mind right now. You know, and the conflict of the reality we face in that way, where so many people are faced with that understanding about the world we live in right now, and is legitimately starting to compromise in more ways than another. Parkour, base jump, and bungee. All of them sounds amazing. Always interesting to me, the people I think of everyone. It is an interesting point. It's insane. And I feel like one thing that I wanted to say about that as well is that people become addicted to their victim mentality. You know, they become addicted to this narrative of who they are and the things they say and the narratives that they portray. And then if you're no longer a victim, who are you? Type of thing, right? If you're no longer, oh, so and so happened to me, and then
You better become a
these
superhero,
things.
bro.
Me? This person?
Everyone.
Every single person, exactly. Not tell yourself a victim mentality story. Tell yourself a superhero story. Again, and I believe, honestly, I came up with this quote. I even Googled it. Believe about yourself what you believe about your heroes.
That I have skin of steel and I'm bulletproof.
Your heroes is Superman, Christian?
I mean, it could be.
Like, who's your actual heroes, dude? None of my actual heroes are.
Einstein, Tesla.
So what do you believe about them that you don't believe about yourself?
I mean, they were pretty crazy.
Like, it's just a cool thought experiment, right? Makes you think about some things. Thank you, Brother Bay, for spending a moment with it. I wish I could see the smile on my face. Thank you again, Shannon, for sharing that as well, friend. You did. You shared the smile on your face. How are you alive? With every single breath, friend. With every single breath. Christian is showing me his hairballs like a cat. Thank you, Kristen. I don't think my comments have been working the last 3 days or so. I see you right now. Like I saw your morning friend comment though, Toast. I did say hi to it. Phone is okay at least. Katie, good morning to thee. It's so nice to have you here with me. Thank you for joining us for the Sunshine Sister. Technically, we've come up with a whole new name. I appreciate you joining us, Katie. Can you nod? Thank you. Bruh, we would be beautiful hobos, dude. I imagine us in an alternate universe
I
just.
don't know about you, bro, but I'm definitely a hobo. So.
Like that jacket would probably be your hobo jacket.
This is my hobo jacket.
100%. Multiple pockets, very hobo jacket versatile. Already has a few rips in it. It's playing the part
These would
so
be my
well.
hobo pants as well, bro. So I can blend in with the concrete.
Concrete jungle.
And in
dude.
some ways I can look like I don't have my lower body so I can get more donations.
I'm just imagining you upward dog posing. I don't have legs. Please give me some money. It's like I can see your legs behind you. No, they're camouflage. These are not the legs you're looking
He
for.
knows too much.
I mean, not in South Africa, maybe. Imagine being alive in the 1800s, having to live in a high society, wearing suits, and going to ballrooms and dancing. I would have enjoyed it. I'm all glad in the 21st century, free as can be. Melkmore wearing a torn scarf as a part of his hobo clothes, 100%. I would be a very fashionable hobo. I would be one of those multi-layering hobos. You know, maybe like patching random pieces of clothing onto one larger jacket, creating this mosaic of insanity. You know, like people will either be extremely intrigued or absolutely terrified upon witnessing my hobo self. And I mean, you lived that life, Nova. It was just you, just this experience of being aware in this moment that you are right now. You just get to have the experience, like those 1800 Victorian, you know, ultra wealthy, high society living individuals would, I believe, honestly, 9 times out of 10 trade places with you right now. To have what you have right now, to have this device right now. Honestly. My comments aren't working. Maybe you have me blocked, Melt. I don't, Toast. Are you not hearing me? Like, I don't know if you're like with selective hearing where every single time I talk to you, you don't hear me. Toast, Kyle, Kyle, Toasty Malosty. This is me reaching out. I see you. I see you, Toast. You're not blocked, by the way. My comments aren't working. I see your comment. Me too. When Christian says he has skin of steel, I think of thick skin, strong mental boundaries. That is a superpower. Did you hear that, Christian?
Si, senor.
That's beautiful, Sensei. Thank you. Thank you for the heartwarming,
That was
Katie.
quite sweet.
Pockets are key, definitely. If you're gonna go hoboing, have multiple pockets.
And a pocket knife.
And a pocket knife, Christian says. Dun 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 dun! Come back tomorrow for more How to Hobo news, where we'll teach you how to make a shank out of
Scissors.
scissors. I mean, that wasn't very creative.
Scissors are excellent shanks.
Yes, they are shanks. Just
Yeah, but you can make like a handle for them. A nicer, shankier handle.
oh, how to upgrade your scissors to a better shank weapon. I'm so sorry. I'm maybe not that sorry. I'm a little bit sorry. A little bit sorry. Maybe it's good. You could kind of like tying this whole conflict question up. I appreciate you friends joining me today. Love to you. We're going to have a sangha. We're gonna have a sangha in like 40 minutes. I look forward to seeing you friends on that side. If you'd be willing to join me, it's basically a Zoom call where we can have a back and forth instead of it just being a forth or a back, whatever you want to say. A shank from a Pepsi can. There we go. You see, that's creative.
That's so hard.
And that's creativity I was looking for. Thank you, Papa Baker. So much love to you, friends. I'll see you again very soon. Love to you. Thank you, Nova, for joining us. Thank you, friends. Thank you so much. I appreciate you finding some time to spend here. Genuinely, it means more than I can say. Mariah says, love, friends, hope everyone has an amazing day. The poppers are so extra lovely today. Allow me to share some love with you. See you all tomorrow. Looking forward to it. Thank you so much, Mariah. Sending you love, my friend. Have a beautiful day, everyone. Love you, Shannon. Shannon is sending love to you as well, Christian.
Love.
Bye, Meltmore. Cheers, Nova. Bye, Miss Blur. Good night. Good night, beloved friend. Have an amazing day. Love to you. I'll be there today, Mel. I look forward to seeing you there, Shannon. Love to you, friend. Cheers, cheers.
Ugh.